Hey gamers, I told you I'd be back. It's me, Rick, here with Game Trade Media at PAX Unplugged in the exhibit hall. I have got Colby and Jerry here from Plaid Hat Games. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this fine day.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, how are you enjoying Philadelphia so far?
It's something.
It's something else, isn't it?
It's a little cold. It's cold.
We walked past a street fight on our way to dinner.
Did you
the
really?
other night.
Yeah, two guys standing on a street corner just beating each other up as we walk by.
A police car sitting right there, not doing anything.
Not doing anything. Well, let them tire themselves out, then go out and be like, all right, get in the car, guys. I get that. So, but you guys are out like in Minnesota, right?
We're in Dallas.
Dallas? Oh, yeah, it's warmer there.
We're a satellite studio. Yeah, we love the warmth.
Okay, well, yeah, it is cold here then. So you gentlemen brought us some games to talk about. Jerry, what do you have with you today?
I brought Komanaft, my newest adventure book game.
Okay. Your newest, so what are you also known for?
I also did a game called Stuffed Fables. It's another adventure book game that came out last year, and then the whole Mice and Mystics series is my stuff. And,
okay.
Yeah, that's what I guess I'm most known for.
So based on those two being super awesome, especially, now I didn't hear Stuffed Fables earlier because I paint those miniatures on our show.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing you paint those miniatures.
That was so much fun, and the sculpts were so good. And again, that's Dave, my partner in crime on the show. Yeah. His kids love that game.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's
so
good to hear.
Good to go. Good job.
It's made for parents to play with their kids.
Yeah. So tell us about this one.
Well, Comanauts isn't necessarily a kid's game. It really is for a little bit of an older audience.
Okay.
But it's in our adventure book series. So as you know with Stuffed Fables, you play the whole game inside of a big, giant adventure book, and this is the same way. It comes with an adventure book that's over 100 pages long, and of course every page has got a different sort of environment and a different sort of experience.
Right.
And unlike Stuffed Fables, Stuffed Fables is a sort of a linear story that you're going through.
Right.
This story is not linear at all.
Okay.
Would you like to hear about the story?
I would love. I'm a story guy.
I'm a story game maker. So the story behind Comanauts is that there is this genius. His name is Martin Strobel, and he created this device called the Mobius ring, which is it provides clean energy enough to supply the whole entire planet with clean energy.
Okay.
But on the day that he goes to turn it on for the first time in front of the world, with all eyes on him and everything, the machine malfunctions and he gets zapped with a bunch of weird dark energy. And he ends up in a coma, and his machine is gradually melting down. And if it does, it'll destroy our planet.
Okay.
So the scientists around the world come up with this desperate plan, and they send a team of people into his mind to try to go through his mind and find his inner child and have communication with him to either figure out how to turn the machine off or, if possible, bring him out of the coma so that he can finish his life's work.
All right, AMC, are you listening to this? You were right. Yeah, this is good.
Listen to him tell you about the inner demons that Martin struggles with.
So what you discover as a player is that he's being held hostage somewhere inside of his own mind by one of his own inner demons. These are traumas from his past that have sort of manifest into more of a cohesive form. And so somewhere in his mind, he's being held captive. And what you are doing is you're traveling around through his mind. It's not done in a linear style. You're hopping around from different regions of his mind that are parts of his imagination and parts of his memories kind of combined and swirled together.
Okay.
And you're trying to find out which of his own inner demons is holding him hostage. It's holding him back in life, in other words.
It's like failure, shame, anger, but they all take form. So it's this monstrous thing that represents anger.
So there's 22 playable characters. When you infiltrate his mind, you go in disguised as a figment of his imagination or a person or character, somebody that he remembers or something.
Okay.
And so you sneak into his mind disguised like that, and as you're probing around trying to find clues, you're really trying to find the inner child, to have an experience interacting with the inner child. And when you do, the inner child won't really talk to you, but he'll touch you and you'll have a vision. And then you share that vision with your fellow players and you discuss which emotional tone you think that it most closely matches, and then you try to find your way to that coma zone and defeat the inner demon that's holding him hostage. And it's all played inside this big book.
Right.
There's all these tons of different environments, and there's lots of storytelling going on. You discover about his childhood. You discover about him when he was a young adult. The more you play, the more you kind of unpeel these layers and learn more and more about him and his life. and you find out that, about his inner struggles, and then you help him overcome that, and that's basically how you win the game.
Dang. Dang.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
When I said there's 22 playable characters, when you start the game, you're going to have a character that you pick yourself, right, out of the 22 characters.
Sure.
But if something happens, because when his mind starts to discover that you're poking around inside of his mind, it'll turn the environment against you, and it can become very dangerous to your avatar, right? So if something happens to your avatar and you lose all your life points, you'll get rid of that avatar and whatever item that is closely associated with that avatar. So for instance, if I was playing Marcia, and she lost all of her life points, I would lose Marcia, and I would lose that lucky penny that she comes with. But I flip over my next avatar, and now I'm Zoinks the gorilla.
Okay.
And from a cartoon that the coma victim used to watch when he was a kid.
Nice.
And suddenly now I have new abilities and new ways of dealing with things. But your character sheet here represents you, and every character has their own individual way that they deal with trauma that happens during the game. So this character might become distraught. So my gorilla might become distraught when he suffers trauma, but the other character might become fearful. So Arno, the golem, if you're playing Arno, he might become fearful. So you got this weird juxtaposition between the way different people react to different traumas and then their character, which might not totally jive. It seems kind of interesting and different,
Very cool.
And
Johnny's back there going, all right, this is super cool.
So it's up to 4 players, and it takes about 90 minutes to 2 hours to play, one session. And there's sort of a loose campaign system where as you go along and you defeat more of his inner demons, you have the chance to actually bring him out of the coma. And then if that happens, then he finishes his life's work.
And saves the planet.
Yes, he saves the planet.
All right.
That's basically it.
Super cool. When is this? Is this out now or coming out soon?
It's coming out real soon. It's coming out in January, so it's almost here. And we have pre-orders available now. It's going to retail for, what's the retail on this?
This one's $69.95.
$69.95? Nice. I mean, 22 playable characters is huge in any game.
Yes.
And the replayability at that point, because you want to see what every character's reactions and everything are. So if I'm playing and I do have the gorilla here, is this change, or is this always going to be the same for that particular
Your character
person?
Sheet represents you. The card is the avatar that you're disguised as. So this represents you and how you might react. And so players, they might pick their character sheet based upon the, however they want to, feel about how they might react to different situations in life. But we don't really guide the players. We just let them choose, what they want to do. And there's 4 different character sheets and 4 different ways that they react. So if all of them are suffering the same kind of trauma at the same time, they'll all react differently to it.
That's beautiful.
So
that's super cool. Dang.
And let's see here.
And I also like the standees that you have here. But are there going to be any expansions or bonus things that you're going to come out later that might have miniatures? I want to ask that because I like miniatures.
Probably not, but the reason there's so many, the reason there's standees in here is because there's so many characters. There's 22 characters. If you pre-order with us, then we also have a promotional character that makes it 23 characters.
Okay.
But there's tons of different types of enemies, so many that you wouldn't be able to have miniatures that would cover all of them. Because all the variety of the environments you're in have their own sets of enemies. So if you're, and then there's other experiences too. There's one scene where you're on a motorcycle, so everybody's on motorcycle standees, and you're flying down the highway at breakneck speed, being chased by robots on motorcycles. So
So the enemies are hugely varied too.
there's
to do miniatures. This game costs $300.
Hey, you know what? Take my money. No, that's super cool. Now, Colby, you also brought another game.
Yes.
All right. So tell us about
this big beefy boy right here, Gen 7. So Gen 7 is our next Crossroads game. Our best-selling game of all time is Dead of Winter at Plaid Hat Games, and that was a Crossroads game. That's where we introduced the system. And way back when we introduced it, we put up a poll saying, what do you want the next Crossroads game to be, and gave some options. The fan base voted for Lost in Space.
Okay.
And we're delivering with Gen 7 finally. So Gen 7 takes place on a colony ship.
Okay.
So basically, Earth's resources have been depleted, and we've built a multi-generational colony ship and are launching towards Epsilon Eridani because we found a habitable planet there. The problem is it's 210 years away. That's a long voyage. we are playing as commanders in the 7th generation on this ship.
Nice.
And we're known as the bridge generation. So we were born on this ship. We never signed up for this mission. We're going to die on this ship having never seen the colony world.
Right.
Ours is a life of true sacrifice.
Right.
And so when the psychologists that worked on this mission as they put it together said if things are going to go wrong, it's most likely going to happen during this 7th generation. Right. And things start to go wrong. So this is a narrative game, and it takes place over several plays. But it is a branching narrative game, which is, let me tell you, a ton of work. So if you're familiar with, I don't know why I pulled this back out of there, but if you're familiar with like Choose Your Own Adventure, I mean, who isn't? You're going to be making choices in this game that are then going to radically change the story and the content, because this game is full of hidden content. Now, unlike a legacy game, all this is repackable, resealable. Nothing's ever destroyed or written on. So you can go through the campaign again, make different choices, and have a whole different experience, both in gameplay and in narrative. And yeah, so like based on the choices you make, you're going to different places, different things are unfolding.
Right.
You all are officers of these different barracks. And you're going around trying to maintain the ship,
right.
and keep us in space while also dealing with these different plot things that are happening as you go.
Very cool. So how many players is this for?
And this is 3 to 4.
Okay.
We are going to launch an expansion shortly after that'll take it up to 5 or 6.
Nice.
So yeah, and it's
got a lot of stuff.
It's amazing.
So I see that you said you have scientists that run different barracks. What are these other big, chunky, beautiful cards that we have in here?
So yeah, there's a bunch of those. This is just a sampling. But these are locations on the ship.
Okay.
So you'll take all these tiles and you'll build this location on the ship, and they're modular because maybe you unlock an upgrade to a location or other super secret stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's really a game of mystery. It's a game of discovery and intrigue, and it can get pretty dark on you.
It sounds like it. So, if sci-fi is watching, I would like to watch this as a show as well, because that whole concept of being the 7th generation of a colony ship that has, like I said, they had no vote on it. They have no investment out of. They got to get the next gens there to keep the human population going. Yeah, I would be the guy to be like, what? My parents were like farmers, and I have to work in hydroponics? No.
Yeah, there's some real interesting stuff around. To achieve a multi-generational ship, they basically have to do these huge cultural shifts and these things, and they have to deal with so they're like in these down cycles and then up cycles. So they'll be down for 3 months and up for 6 months, and so like one of the stories that you go into, you have some personal relationships on the ship, and you'll interact with those people, and that'll see new crossroads cards into the deck.
Nice.
And so you'll see the repercussions of your actions. So one of them is you have a pregnant mother, and she gives birth. She has to go into her down cycle after the child's a couple years old.
Right.
She gets an extended up cycle, but then the child has to be raised without her while she's down. Because the young child can't go into a down cycle. He's too young. He's still growing.
That is dark, too.
There's some other interesting features. Like if you're born on a ship and you're going to die on a ship, you never actually experience human culture the way a person who lives on our planet would. So they have to have the culture of humanity itself has to be given to them through their learning, their ship learning tools and stuff that they have to watch videos and
they have this REM VR. So they go to sleep and they have to put on these VR things, and then it interacts with their REM cycle sleep, and it through dreams they can have these different experiences. So like that child, how they help her with her separation anxiety is through this REM VR, and she can spend time with her mother through this virtual reality. Right?
Oh my God!
So there's all sorts of really cool, crazy stuff, and it's all very, secretive.
Yeah,
so there's so much more I'd love to talk about.
I don't want to spoil anything else on this game. Now, when is this game available?
This game is going to be available December 6th in stores everywhere. December 6th.
That's like what?
That's in
5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So if
So
you're
you can get it
watching
at a local
this,
game store. You can get it online.
Gen 7 right there. Pick it up. It's going to be awesome. I mean, it is awesome. This is awesome.
Yeah, I've been demoing it here at the show a little bit, and man, people are really blown away.
Good. Gentlemen, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Is there anything else that you want to, like, secret squirrel out that you can talk about? Any other projects for Q1, maybe?
For Q1 of, nothing I can announce right now.
Perfect. Then that means that what you all out there watching need to do is go to plaidhatgames.com.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, and stay tuned. Make sure you're following them on all their social media platforms, and so you don't miss out on all the news and stuff coming from the Plaid Hat Games House of Imagination.
Or stay tuned to GTM.
Wow. Thanks, man. Yes. Or
they'll get the news as well and share it with you.
Yes, we will. And I have a feeling that this needs to have a playthrough, and that needs to have a playthrough. I'm Rick. This is Game Trade Media. I'm sure we're going to see you at the game store.